Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we're thankful for today. We're thankful for the many blessings that you give each and every one of us, Lord. We ask you to just be with us and guide us and lead and direct us in a will that be pleasing to you. Lord, we ask you to be with our first responders and all the sick. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Go ahead and call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda, we have approved the minutes from the previous meeting. Need a motion and a second.
Make a motion.
Motion by Darren. Second by Neil. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved payment of the bills. I think you all have had a copy of them. You got any questions or anything about the bills? Anybody? Need a motion? Motion by Neil. Second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved treasurer's monthly settlement. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Damon. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approved treasurer's budget transfers as presented. I think we've got a copy of that also. Is there any questions on that? Not? Need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Neil. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approved jailer's payment of bills. Need a motion and a second for that.
Motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Neil. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approved jailer's monthly settlement. Need a motion on that.
Make a motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Damon. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approved jailer's budget transfers. Need a motion on that.
Make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Neil. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approved jail policy and procedure. Jason, you want to say anything?
Yeah, there's no changes in that policy and procedure. It's something that we have to do. The Department of Corrections requires us to have that approved and placed in the minutes every year. So that's the only thing we're having done.
Need a motion on that. Motion by Brian, second by Neil. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approved jail to advertise bids for a body scanner. Jason?
Body scanners, technically pretty much what they have in the airports. It's real similar to those. We haven't had a tremendous issue with it, but kind of what's brought it into play is a bill was passed last year so that any security upgrades can be purchased through our commissary account. And so I've been putting that off to do until that bill was passed. So it's something that we're wanting to try to look at now. Basically what it's going to do is help us prevent contraband coming in the facility. It'll also be able for law enforcement to utilize it also. We have had a few contraband issues in the last couple of years, serious issues as far as drugs are concerned. So it's something that we want to try to look at. There are a few options out there. Of course, some are better than others. One of the ones we looked at has capabilities or has software that's capable of looking at the X-ray itself, and the software will actually pick the contraband out. Say they swallow a pill, it will actually pick that pill out in their intestines, where you don't have to just rely on our eyes to pick it out, because sometimes it's hard to look at an X-ray and really understand what you're looking at. So that's one of the ones we're looking at. They are a little pricey. They're upwards of $150,000 to $180,000 or $90,000. But again, that money does come out of our commissary account, which is the revenue that's made off of selling commissary items to the inmates. So there's no money coming out of the jail fund itself or the county general fund.
Jason, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes.
On those body scanners, and this is just for my personal information, is this, so when you get an inmate brought in through booking, they're passed through this scanner?
Yes.
Okay.
And it won't apply for, well, of course, we'll have to write policies on it to fit our facility, but it'll have to be treated similar to how we do strip searches now. you can't just stick every lockup that comes in through it.
Okay.
So there'll be policies written for it. But there's a decision tree, basically, that we'll have to go by. And it'll be real similar to how we do strip search.
So if you also have an issue with an existing inmate, perhaps that you think might be hiding dangerous contraband on their person or in their person, you'll be able to use your policies to run those through
Yes.
people too.
Any inmate that's currently in general population that we have a possible contraband issue with, or an inmate that has like gone to court, if they leave our custody and come back into our custody, then we can send them through it. Or if it's a new lockup and by the charges or history with us, we have reason to believe that they potentially could have contraband on them, then we can send those through it. But if you're coming in to serve 2 hours, then you're not gonna go through that.
Yeah.
In other words, to make your facility a safer facility overall.
Yes, sir.
This be something like they walk through or lay down on, or?
Walk through.
Just walk through?
Yeah, just stand up.
Non-invasive in any way.
Right.
I think it's great, anything that,
Anything
Yep,
that's-
yep, keep
You've
it
been in
out.
the airport, it's the same ones that you walk in, the round ones, and you walk, and they tell you to hold your hands up. It's the same,
Real similar to those.
same style. So. But it actually shows, that, like you said, in person, not just on person, in person. It shows contraband
Right.
that would be in.
And believe it or not,
intestines and that type of stuff, if they swallow
cavity
something.
searches.
they'll do, I mean, the inmates are known for sticking things where they don't belong, to put it nicely.
Yeah,
And what we're doing now is, if we have a reason to believe that that's the case, then right now we're taking them to the hospital and paying for an x-ray. So there's an expense savings there, over time that it will pay for itself. But, it doesn't happen real often. We don't have a huge issue. Right now, our biggest issue as far as contraband goes to that nature is drugs. But we have had cell phones and pretty much the gamut of stuff stuck where it don't belong.
Am I right that the programming with a lot of those will detect stuff that the human eye can't?
Of course, anything metal is gonna jump out
Yeah.
pretty easy. The stuff that you might have trouble just with the naked eye looking at is
Pinpoint.
dope, packets of dope or pills, or if someone comes in, and we've had it before, and they claim that they've swallowed a bottle of pills when they really haven't, then that's gonna rule that out. Or if they claim that they're not on or haven't taken any drugs or swallowed any pills or anything, and it's obvious that they're under the influence of something,
So it could
then
even
that may rule that out.
safer for the inmate itself.
Absolutely.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by
I'll
Darren, second by Dana. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approve or accept the sheriff's monthly settlement. I need to entertain a motion. Motion by Neil, second by Brian. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have accept the clerk's 2018 year-end settlement and excess funds. Angel, you want to say your name or Tanya?
166,873.66 is the total
That's what will be coming back to the general fund.
from the clerk's
From the
last
clerk's
year.
office from last year. The way that does, they're a fee office, and they set their budget. They're about like Norman is, their office and Norman's office is a fee office, so they really don't know what they're gonna collect. And so anything excess over their budget, they end up turning back in, and they pretty well know a little bit more, I guess you'd say, than Norman does, what he's gonna spend. They generally know what their budget's gonna be, so that's why, we always take this and put back in the general fund, and it helps us tremendously, so. And Norman always sort of runs a little close because he doesn't know what he's gonna collect either, and then he doesn't know what he's gonna spend either, because you never know what's gonna happen in that type of work, so that's what's going on. Need to entertain a motion to accept.
Make motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Darren. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have approved Kentucky Transportation Resolution for Modernization. What that is we basically do stuff like this every year, about this time of year. It has to do with working with the state of Kentucky to, had a meeting with them today about road projects in the county, and they actually get with us on state road projects too. And bridge projects, there's a lot of different stuff that's going on. They changed the bridge fund the way they used to do it. Now it's an 80-20 type deal, and we used to be able to bank that money, and we can't bank it anymore. So, and they've put, I think it's 8 bridges in Grayson County that they've put on their list to repair. One of the first one's gonna be Taylor Fork, Brian, your district, right down here, Bear Creek. And then there's another one, Horntown Road, that there's a bridge there, that they're gonna be repairing, doing some, work on the bridge there. And,
It's not really, well, it's not much of a bridge, now it's more of a culvert, but I
And that
understand.
bottom,
right,
that
yeah.
one goes all the way down that bottom.
Yeah, down to the bottom down there.
Yeah, they're gonna be doing that. So this is just basically a resolution saying that we work good together, just to explain to you, a lot of this stuff is repetitive that we do every year. Next meeting, they'll be here over the Flex Road funds. It's another resolution that we have to do, and they'll explain a little bit about it to you. And just to give you an update, we do it every year, so just to let you know what's going on with it. So I need a motion to approve Kentucky Transportation Resolution for Modernization.
I'll make it.
Motion by Damon, second by Neal, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we have approved to sell county surplus property. Y'all probably got a list in your packets. And, if there's any questions, what I usually do is let the road department guys, tell me what needs to go and what we need to keep. And with a lot of the equipment that we've been buying, the newer equipment, we're phasing some of this stuff that's well lived its life, I guess you would say. And we normally sell these on gov deals. They used to do auctions, and something that would bring $500. The first one we done was in 2017, and we set it up, and a truck that you'd think we got $500 out of, we'd get $4,000 or $5,000 out of. And there's people all over the nation that can bid on them. So that's the way we usually sell our stuff instead of doing public auctions here in the
Coming from an
county.
auctioneer, that works.
Yeah, it really does good. We got, just to give you an example, we went to Frankfurt and bought a backhoe, 580 backhoe, and gave $19,000 for it. Used it for about a year. It got in an accident, got turned over. Insurance paid us $18,000 for it. Busted the side glass out, and the motor started knocking. And I sold it on gov deals for $18,000. So
There's no way you could have done that here.
no, absolutely not. So it does really good. Just to let y'all know how we sell our surplus property and stuff on gov deals. So
That's a good idea.
anyway, I need a motion to approve the sale county surplus property on the surplus property list we have.
Make a motion.
Motion by Darren,
Second.
second by Damon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next we have approved Indian Valley lease. What that is we have leases with Corps of Engineers. Darren, me and you spoke about this a little while ago. And the county maintains boat docks, or boat ramps, boat ramps. One of them is at Evely. You asked me about the one, and it's not on there. It's not on our list. Evely, Holiday Rough, and Indian Valley. And that's something that the Corps, we've got a contract with the Corps, and this is a lease with the Corps. This has gone on for years. I've let Jeremy look at it, review it. He says that It's fine, it's nothing that has ever changed. But those are 3 boat ramps that the county actually maintains. And we don't maintain any other ones, any private ones or anything like that. It's just these particular 3, and this lease happened to be up. And if you got any questions or anything, you can ask me. I'll try to explain them to them, or, we'll get with Jeremy and whatever you want to do.
I've reviewed it. I mean, this seems like, I got with the judge about it because I think that he would have seen this before. This is a 25-year lease, and so historically, I think we've had these going on for a long time. It's kind of our agreement with the federal government, actually the Department of the Army, to help take care of these areas, and they help upkeep them. The only thing that I had in there that I talked to the judge about was we do have to keep an insurance policy on them for $1 million in case something goes wrong. It's a pretty long lease, but it basically lays out the different rights that they have and we have. And overall, generally, it's just an agreement to work together to keep that place up and running and maintained.
And we do have those policies in place. We've had them for quite some time. Any questions on it? Anything? Entertain a motion to approve the lease, Indian Valley lease.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Darren. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Accept the Edmonson County Water District Service Map. That's something else that we do every year. It's just basically their area of the county that they actually service, and it's something that they have to have for their records to be able to maintain water service in Grayson County. So, entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Darren. Second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I know Brian would second it or make a motion, because if he didn't, we wouldn't have any water. All right. Next we have accept Edmonson County Water District Board of Commissioners, which that's something else that we do every year, and they are the ones that actually set those, so I need to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Damon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have update from fiscal court committees, the Parks Rec Committee, the Road Committee, and the Building Committee. We have to do this every meeting just to, and I know Parks and Recs probably, there ain't been a whole lot going on unless
Sure,
y'all
just
had
now
any
having
calls.
signups and stuff, I've kind of checked with them,
Yeah,
They're doing that right now until the weather gets good, and then I told them
yeah.
I'd get with them and stuff.
Yeah, and then we'll probably do some stuff different over here in the park and, in the Valley Park, and do some stuff different there. And then I think I told y'all before, we had swing sets and different stuff that they're wanting to put in up at Big
Yeah.
Clifty. So they've got a park up there, and probably do something there. So Road Committee, anybody?
Nothing as of yet. We're trying to find out some stuff in Franklin. We didn't find out anything. We want to see what we can do and what we can't do.
Yeah.
Mr. Wiley and I are gonna make circle the county in the next few weeks after the rain kind of settles down, and see what's left after all the
It's
extreme rain we've had. We're just gonna-
running around.
And we'll give our opinions to everyone, what we think that we found and what we haven't found. And that'll be coming up probably by the next meeting if he's available.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he will be, if I'm available.
Yeah, Building Committee.
Nothing, I ain't talked to Tom.
Yeah. Everything on the building stuff, I've gotten with Tommy a couple times, and Brian was up at the old library today. The old library is going good. We're probably moved in there about the middle of March. I'm pretty excited about the stove, to be honest with you. So, we're gonna try to do something. Me and Jason's been talking about we've gotta get this courthouse renovated, not this one, but the old one where Jeremy's located at. And, I think we might have something worked out, and, some windows and doors and HVAC and new electric and different stuff like that. Tommy's been talking to some of the people he knows, because he's in that line of work, and he's supposed to be getting back with me on this building here. We've got a major repair with this
Talked
building.
about that.
Talked
We
with-
talked about that today.
Yeah, we talked with the insurance company, and I think they're willing to negotiate with us, so, not 100%, because it wasn't a catastrophic event, you know, that actually caused it, so, that'll help our budget out tremendously, so, we're gonna try to get something done there, but I think the building wise, you know, we're gonna be good over at the old library. It's gonna be really good for all of us. And the courthouse, the old courthouse on the square, that really needs to be renovated in short order. We've been dealing with that, and it's been band-aided for a long time. And we just need to get it going, and we're trying, me and Jason's been working together with, you know, as far as financing goes, to try to figure out a way how we're gonna pull this off, so, and hopefully it works out good, so.
Expensive.
Yeah, it is. Okay, next we have, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about road stuff here during new business. Approve agent designation for emergency management. That would be Miss Dee Dee. So, need a motion and a second to approve. And Darren, I probably wouldn't vote on this, just simply because that's your better half.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Damon, second by Robbie, all in favor. Any opposed? And Darren abstained from vote. All right. Other business. Jason?
Good.
Robbie?
I'm good.
Anything?
Just something to discuss a little bit. We worked hard on getting some of our roads in good shape. I know especially you did too. And not pointing any fingers really, but we got some utility companies that I know they have to be out here doing what they have to be doing, but they are really making it hard on these new roads, and some of it's not, it's uncalled for.
Mm.
And I don't know if we need to come up with something to kind of help prevent this. But I've had a lot of complaints on debris being left in the roads and tearing chunks of blacktop out with equipment that's going in and off the road where they don't need to be. There's no reason to be, you know. I don't know really.
I spoke with Harold about that, and Harold said that he would definitely take care of the issue, and whatever cost that we incur for the replacement of whatever we need to do, that they would take care of it. And he contacted their supervisor, and I think it's one of those things where it's hard to find good people to work anymore. You know, they go through a lot. They have a big turnover with that company, and they're having trouble getting good qualified people. And they just, you know, they're there for Friday, and
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, and I talked with him, and I appreciate all that.
Yeah.
I just, you know, we're proud of our work. We're
oh yeah,
proud of our new roads, and we just kind of like to take care of them.
yeah. Dane, you got anything?
The weather conditions has been a factor in what I've seen, just to assure people that there's a lot of things that can't be done at this time because of the weather conditions. We're throwing money towards something that will have to wait.
Yeah.
The road crew's done an excellent job of what they've done. Maybe people just be patient, which they have been. Everybody that I've talked to has been patient.
Yeah.
Assure them that the weather will surely give us a little slack soon. We
Yeah.
hope and pray.
That's right.
That's all I have.
Brian?
How do we go about reaching out to other people like coming into the county, like a Kroger's, stuff like that in the county?
I've been doing things like that. I do that, and a lot of there's been a lot of stuff, well, you can ask Angel, I haven't been in the office the past 2 days because I've been in a meeting every day, Monday and Tuesday, all day long. And there's some stuff that we talk about that they don't want released yet. And, a lot of that stuff is done that way. It's sort of, let's wait and see what happens, but, there's been talks with, different companies coming in, different industry coming in. Of course, that OFS thing's been going on for a while, and they've released that about the 105 jobs that's coming, OFS is coming in. And they're moving their factory from, not their entire factory, but they're maybe talking about doing it later on in phases, where they're gonna hire 105 here now for sure. That's already, etched in stone. And there's a possibility that they could, bump that up a little bit. And, I guess I've talked to Ken and Matt about this. We've been talking to hotel firms about trying to get a hotel in here. That's part of my job. That's what I do. And,
Well, I mean, I'm new, that's why it's kind of.
yeah, and I do that type of stuff, and, and we hired, of course, we pay a bill, y'all see it on there every now and then through IDC, and I'm glad there's not a whole lot of people here, that way we can have a good conversation, because the past few meetings, y'all been taking it, but, this would be a little bit, better to, sit around and talk, together.
What in general are people like that looking for, the industry looking for? What in this area would be, if we improved it? What could we improve to make us more suitable to their taste?
Well, I think I've told you all, TVA, they're the ones that take, they're sort of the managers, I guess, of WRECC. And they passed a bill last year that counties with anybody that's in the TVA district would get, $75,000 each year.
We're gonna lose that, aren't we?
Well, no, not necessarily, but because they shot, they closed the plant.
Yes.
Well, we're still TVA county.
Okay.
So TVA still, we're gonna get the $75,000 this year.
Well, that's great.
It goes into the industrial foundation. It doesn't go into the county. It doesn't go to the general fund. It has to be used only for industrial infrastructure. So say like we needed to rebuild infrastructure or sewer line or water line or something going into an industrial park, or purchase of new property for an industrial site. Cannot be used for any kind of payroll or anything like that. Now it goes to 75, 100 the next year, and then 150 the third year. So, and we can keep keep getting that money and banking that money, but legislation can change it too. So if the House or the House changes, or the Senate changes, they could reverse that. And then we'd have to do what we had to do in the past, and that was go to Frankfurt and beg for it.
Money can't be used for, say, grant writer position or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
If we, once we turn that over to the industrial foundation, are we still in control of it?
No, the industrial board is, and I sat on the industrial board. So, and what they actually, is, if you all got a concern with what you think we need to do, with that, you come to me, and I'm sort of the liaison between the industrial foundation and the court.
Who are the members of the industrial board?
Oh, there's quite a few on there. There's, there's Vince Eskew, George Basham, Bill Thompson's the president. He's just recently been appointed president. Lyndall Sharp, Denny Buckles, Barry Anderson. I'm leaving some folks out too. I'm trying to sit here, I'm going around the table trying to think.
Similar to what it has been, those been on there for a while too.
Yeah, some of them has. And like I said, Judge Goff's not on there anymore. Kenneth Goff used to be on there. He's the one that actually started the Industrial Foundation and done a great job with it. the reason we've got what we've got now. And just give y'all a little back set of, you know, the way things happened in the past. But we're looking for new industrial sites right now. Met with AEI, it's a company that, they're an engineering firm. And we're gonna have to do something at the airport. And we've been talking with them about possibly doing something different with the airport. Of course, like we've got an airport board, you know, people sit on it. And they get direction from the city and from the county both, because it's a county city airport. And we don't put a lot of funds into that airport. A lot of it's federal money through the FAA. And there's something called a displacement threshold that you can't, we're not meeting the displacement threshold because we've only got a 3,980-foot runway. And a lot of these jets that Plasticon has, and of course I've talked with these folks, and Plasticon, OFS, Kelly Beehive, some of them's got Falcon jets, some of them's got Gulfstream, some of them's got Citations. It takes 5,000 feet. So
Be a possibility in the future, possible.
we're already looking at that, and that's like what Brian said, you know, who does that type stuff? That's my job. I go and do that stuff, and some of that stuff we don't really release, you know, until, well, because we don't know what's gonna happen with it just
See,
yet.
something like that gives you an edge over another community, say,
If you had access.
Ohio County or anybody else, because when you've got an airport with a 5,200-foot runway, and you're trying to develop it for industrial use, people, a CEO, like what we've talked, they wanna fly,
Yeah.
they don't wanna fly to E-Town and drive down here. That's
Yeah, and they fly to E-Town and they have to drive, so, and we're looking at a number of things to do, and I'm telling you, this ain't gonna happen next year.
No.
This is long-term,
Foreseen.
you know, 10, 15 years down the road, and that, you know, stuff that we're looking at now. And, you know, we just met with, you know, the highway department today, I did, and, about projects, state projects all over the county. Doing shouldering projects on 62, on 54, the widening up here of 62, the second phase of that, and some of these projects go 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years out. And one project in particular, believe it or not, is putting a bridge across this holler that's actually on there. And I mean, that is a state-sponsored project, but now it's probably gonna be a while. But it would go across to tie into Wallace Avenue, and then that road where the aquatic center's on would actually go onto the bypass. It'd tie into the bypass.
Just make easier access to the new judicial.
Yeah, and I like telling you all this stuff, and that's like I said, I knew that there wouldn't probably be a whole lot of people here tonight. And that's why I wanted to take a little time and just share with y'all what's been going on. We're always trying to recruit business coming in here. Industrial, not so much, but the governor's office, and you all have been to Frankfurt already. You all been watching. The governor that we have now, he is pushing economic development big time. I mean, pushing it. That falls into the airports, all that. They're pushing the airport stuff. They're pushing that. So they've got a lot of monies that's available for that. State, federal allocated funds that gets delivered to the state, but then the state has to appropriate it to the counties where they want it. So there's a lot of that stuff that's been going on. Things are looking a whole lot better than they have been. And you've got to, and with you all going to Frankfurt the other day, you all have seen that if you don't go ask, you're not going to get it.
No, you're not.
So, and that's why I stay in Frankfurt a lot, is trying to lobby for this money for the county, and, you know, they've been really receptive to it.
It was a really informative trip that we had. They were really nice to us, very informative. Senator Murray was really, really good and informative.
Well, if they see if you're wanting to get involved, they're gonna be, you know, they're gonna help you out, tend to, you know, have a
He's
tendency
been good meeting, Steve.
to help you out a little bit more, so. And then you all have had a lot of questions about road issues and this and that. Hey, and I'm sorry for taking everybody's time, but we actually ain't been able to sit down and talk like this much. It's just been sort of like a firestorm, I guess you'd say, so.
Well, I had a few people call me on some state issues, like the McDonald Road, had launch student call me, they put a weight limit on that bridge. Has he contacted you or anything about it? The state put like 27,000 pound weight on there, required. He wanted to know why they put it on there. I said, well, I don't know, but I'll bring it up and see, how we can find out.
The state, it's the same thing they done to Taylor Fork Bridge down there, which is actually a county road. And of course McDonald is too, but it goes over the WK Parkway. And they're basically just covering themselves is what they're doing as far as weight limit goes, because it sometimes it's been quite a while for somebody has inspected those bridges. Well, then they do the same thing we do on the roads. We do a grading system. And that's one thing I was gonna tell you all about the roads. I've had a lot of you all call and ask me, hey, so-and-so's wanting this road paved. They said it's bad. Well, it is bad. But I can promise you, I can take them to another one that's worse. And you need to tell folks, something, I know y'all get a lot of calls, people wanting blacktop down. They're not blacktopping right now. And even when they do start blacktopping, you gotta understand, it's $60,000 a mile is what it costs to blacktop.
And that's an narrow road.
Yes. That ain't, that ain't 259 South Road, that's a narrow county road, 60,000 a mile. So with the money that we're allocated through municipal aid, the flex road funds helps out a lot, and then the discretionary funds that we've been getting helps out a lot. But you can tell people, we're gonna have to grade these roads, and don't promise anybody that we're gonna blacktop their road, because we don't know that we can. It just depends on how the funds go. And I don't think people realize how much it costs to actually blacktop roads. And, but it is getting better. There's way more blacktop than there has been because of the discretionary funds that we've had. So, it's helping out, and Frankfurt understands that. And, speaking with them today, they was like, look, we know that, you've got to play catch up. We are second in the state to road miles, county road miles. Pike County being number 1. Grayson County is number 2.
And total miles, road miles.
County road miles.
County road miles, yeah.
We're second in
It
the
is
state.
surprising, though.
Yes, it is, but we've got them, I can tell you.
Big over.
You got a bunch in your district.
Yes,
but
sir.
There's a bunch.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have that many in yours, Robbie, you're good.
But no, I didn't
None of
know.
you other guys need it. I need all the blacktop in a second.
But I didn't
Like it all
know
the
if
chicken.
you come up with something, or if just say for instance for Norman, we got a drug problem here in the county.
Yeah.
Is there something we can do to help him out, to improve this? Just stuff like that. How to go about getting,
Yeah,
just use another example.
I don't think there's any answer to that. I think if you could put 20 more men on, you're still gonna have a drug problem.
Oh, yeah.
Can I speak to that too? I'd like to.
Yeah.
One thing I think with Brown, but churches in our county get more involved in getting people involved in their churches. It takes a group effort, I think, from everybody, to really work at it. And, because I have seen a lot of people that started going to church and get saved, change their life, and that's the best rehab there is,
I'd like to make this statement too. Our county, the residents of our county are more so educated than I even knew about these drug problems. Everyone I spoke to has some type of idea. They know we have a problem. They are more educated about it than a lot of people realize.
Well, and the reason for that is, everybody in here raise your hand if you've had somebody in your family that's affected by drugs.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Everybody in here, there's nobody in this
You were
room,
self-educated.
or nobody anywhere, so that, yeah, everybody is educated on how bad the drug
Well,
problem
the
is.
point of my story is people are more educated than maybe some realize.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it does affect their opinion on what they say and do.
Jeremy, did you have something?
Yeah, just quickly, I mean, I could talk about the drug problem for a long time, but I just wanted to point out some new information that I got recently. I was with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office before I came into this office, and part of my duties are to prosecute misdemeanors. Those are some drugs too. And also, we push the felonies up to circuit court through the district court process. So we prosecute felonies for a brief time. Our numbers up in this county, our county numbers are up as far as all crime, all the numbers. And I met with the Commonwealth Attorney today concerning that, about the higher number of indictments. I looked at his docket, and he's been looking at my docket. He says, your numbers are higher than the other 2 counties in our circuit. And I said, well, your indictments are higher. Here in Grayson County, that is a good sign, though, because we have a lot of law enforcement officers that are out there working these cases. We have the involvement of the task force out of Hardin County, which involves county officers here and city. And they are working, and we have some major indictments. And so they're out there fighting. And I want you all to know, if you see high numbers or you hear someone from the court system that we got high numbers, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we're catching a lot of them. The problem occurs with the recidivism, the people that come back to it. Maybe our judicial system right now, the legislators have determined that they want more people out of jail based on money, based on the budget in Frankfurt. And so the problem is Jason can keep them, and he does a great job. Norman can hunt them out, and the city police officer can hunt them out. The state police, this task force, they can all get them, but they end back out on the streets.
Right.
And until you can change that individual person, we've been trying to use Casey's Law at our office to help people. And if you all don't know what Casey's Law is, it's the idea that we have this court system process now that you can get a family member in, or if you're a concerned citizen, you can try to get someone into rehab. Now, part of the problem with that is it's hard to force somebody into a rehab program that's just going to run off or do something else. And so we've been trying to use Casey's Law, but it's just not this county that's having trouble turning people around. It's other counties too. Some counties have quit really doing the Casey Law applications to the county attorney's office because it seems to be a waste of time. We're not giving up on it, but it's the people trying to turn them around. Mr. Whiteley here is saying about people in church. It's the families that care about these people. It's these programs that we have. We can do the best we can. And that's all. I just want to give you all some information, my take on it.
Thank you.
Any issue that, we can help on.
Yeah, and that's the
You
thing,
don't know till you ask.
that's the thing, discussion is
Work in
everything,
progress.
and that's why I don't, I'm sort of not being, I guess, formal right now, because we've gone through the agenda, so, just to sit down and talk to you all about some issues that, that your constituents has asked you about, stuff.
One thing we got coming up, I don't want to say much about it, because I'm sure we're going to talk plenty in the next couple of months, is the smoking ban in the county. I know we've been asked and talked to by CEO of the hospital, different things, and it might be, I was saying about this since the last meeting, it might be a good idea if we give them more of something what we're looking for. It's not going to do them a bit of good to come up here and stand there for 3 hours and tell us smoking's bad. We know smoking's bad. We know it's a bad thing. We know it causes health problems. That's, I don't think that's where we're at on this individual thing. To me, the way I'm looking at it is a right for the people that own these businesses. That's what it's going to take probably for me to get a vote, is tell me why I should tell this guy what he can do with his property. And another thing, is it really a problem? I found one store, after research, I found one store that even allows it. And I'm just thinking ahead, if we could talk to them beforehand, maybe this would save us and them a lot of research and a lot of time saying, look, this is what we need. If y'all feel the same way, that's the way I feel. I don't know how y'all feel about it.
Yeah,
But we all pretty much know, I mean, we know smoking's bad. We know it's not good for you and everything like that. So we don't really need a spiel for 2 hours about,
right.
you know, the dangers of smoking.
And I don't think they are. I talked to Wayne yesterday. We was in a meeting together, me and him and Senator Meredith and Richie Sanders. And that was brought up and he asked me about it. And I said, well, I'm just gonna let the magistrates get with their constituents and, you know, see what they think. Me and Damon's talked about it. Me and Brian's talked, well, I think we've all talked about it. Is, just get with them. And then, like I said, you just got to, you know, it's just one of those decisions you need to, you know, that you need to make a decision on. And I've asked Brian, the only place I know of that you can smoke is Short Creek. I mean, I don't know of any other place that you can, unless you all know somewhere else. And,
That's, you know, mine.
of course, Damon, you know, he's got his space out there.
You smoke, Damon?
That's basically
You
your
always have.
personal property.
And I know it's wrong, but I
You
feel
smoke?
like it, as Mr. Rickman said, I think it should be the business's right to say yes or no. Because
Yeah.
in these federal buildings where they have to come, I totally agree with it. Children in the car, I totally agree with it. But us as adults, I've owned my business 37 years there, I do smoke. I mean, I will say I do smoke, knowing it's wrong, I do smoke. But even if I didn't smoke, I think I would still have the same opinion. I think it should still be the individual business owner's right to say yes or no.
Well, and the only thing I was
Right or
right
wrong?
on that is, I guess I want to give them fair opportunity to, you know where they need to.
Yeah, and I think that's what, if you, in the packet that Wayne gave everybody, it pretty well spells out, you know, everything. If you read in that packet that
Well,
he's
I mean,
given.
you know, it's like the information I asked him, how many people this is going to even affect.
Yeah,
You know, I think it's information, if I would bring it forward, I would have that information in front of me.
right.
You know, if somebody asks you, is this going, you know, that, you know, if you ever researched how many people it's going to affect, like I said, Short Creek Store's on one, I found Damon Hornback's now. Put him on that big
Pretty
list.
good advertising, I'll have all the smokers in my place.
So, you
No,
know,
I
it's,
respect I'll finish, I respect what they're doing though.
and like I said, my suggestion is you know, I've told y'all all along, I want, you know, that's why we have a court, that's why we have 6 magistrates that make decisions and.
And basically just the communication, I think we could have better communication. They know
Oh, yeah.
what we're looking for and we know what they're looking for.
Yeah, and I just want to give you all the facts and all the tools to try to make a decision. If you ask me something, I'm going to try to get it and retain that information for you, so. But,
And I have a comment about the smoking ordinance. I was gonna bring this up. Looking forward, I've been in contact with an attorney that Wayne Merriweather had connected me with, and she's done some of these ordinances before. My main question was, if the cities have ordinances already, what effect does the county have that, you know, I'm looking forward to, if you all do want to move forward with this, I mean, it sounds like some of you won't, and that's obviously your decision, but if you do decide to move forward, what they're suggesting is a pretty comprehensive ordinance, and that takes precedent over the city ordinances. The city ordinances can make more rules and make it stricter than the county, but they can't dilute the overall one, you know? And so that's just for your all information
yeah.
for the future. And they've sent me a copy of their model comprehensive one. It's about 15 pages long, and it's part of it is titled the non-smoker's right to clean air or something like that. But just to let y'all know, when you all do vote, if you vote whichever direction, if it's in the direction, then that would be the first step into trying to form what kind of ordinance that we actually wanted, if you all do. So.
It'd be something to get with your constituents on, talk to them and see what y'all.
You know,
see what you
we're
think.
talking about now to get
Yeah.
the first district to get a group together and see if the female wants to talk about it.
Yeah,
Of course, everybody in the county be invited. If y'all want to invite anybody, when we do get it put together, I'll let everybody know.
right, yeah. That'll work good. Neil, you got anything that's come up or? No?
Just what I was talking about, you know, the bridge and.
Yeah, and some of y'all on these road complaints and stuff, I'll tell you all, I've had do not hesitate to call me. If I don't know the answer, I can promise you, I'll get the answer. Me and Jeremy's worked together a little bit today. We have numerous complaints. You can ask Angel, that phone is relentless. And on different road issues, some days it's pretty calm and some days it's pretty chaotic. And there's always something that comes up, closing of roads, making a road a county road, maintaining, county, people wanting private roads, making county roads. And I can tell you that's, and me and Damon's talked about this, it's almost near impossible unless they want to, blacktop them, especially in some of these subdivisions that they've had the Kentucky land stores put in. It's considered a subdivision.
Make it quite complicated. for
Yeah,
us.
so that has to be blacktopped. And honestly, it saves the county quite a bit of money anyway, because back in the 70s and 80s, that's how we ended up with so many roads, is there's some of these county roads that I can't believe they're county roads. I mean, it's unbelievable, but they are. And, they're in the minutes and they're on the list. But if you all have any questions at all, feel free to call me. If I don't know, we'll get with Jeremy. And there's some stuff that we don't know, but we've got people that we can contact that does know. So, Rich Ornstein is the attorney for KCO. If you all, when you go to some of your trainings and stuff, get to know Rich Ornstein.
Yeah.
He knows everything when it comes to county government. So, get with him. Jason calls him a lot too. So,
And I met with him just last week. I went to a presentation he had, and afterwards I caught him and I said, I heard of you. I'm gonna need your information. I'm trying to take as much information as I can so that maybe, there's no guarantee that somebody's gonna be on the other end of that phone next year. People retire, people get sick, people change positions. Rich is the guy for the state. He is the expert. I'm trying to get enough information from him to put together a guide for our county and a guide for anybody else that wants to use it, so we don't always have to reach out to him. But he is more than willing to take anybody's call, and so, you obviously know, you guys that have contacted him know that he's the person, so.
because everything comes up, and Brian's had an issue with right-of-way issue in his district. Robbie's had one in his district. There's always some kind of issue that comes up, and there has to be a question addressed. Any other questions? Any new business? Any kind of new business or old business?
I got one more thing.
Mhm.
This is me being new. When do we look at the budget for the next year? When does that come up?
That'll be probably start about April, I guess.
March, he'll.
I'll turn mine in
Yeah.
the next meeting. I have to have mine turned in by the 1st of April.
His gets turned in, then sheriff's or,
Sheriff's is yearly calendar year.
yeah, and then they've got to run, his is the first one, then ours is
In April.
about April,
We have to
so.
give it to the magistrates, and then in May, they have to vote on first reading, and then by the end of June, we have to have our second one. So, first reading will be in May.
So the fiscal court year starts July 1st? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Nothing? Y'all got anything, Buck?
Well, I'll make it quick. To add to what Brian was saying there a little while ago, I too can probably talk the rest of the night about the drug problem in the county. I've been on the front lines over here in the county for about the past 10 years. My opinion, a couple of things. I think law enforcement needs to get out in front of the drugs. And Kevin, I know you've done it for years, worked for the task force. I think law enforcement needs to try to attack the drug before it gets into the communities, being with interdiction, highway interdictions. Of course, we've got a major highway that runs right through Grayson County here, being the Western Kentucky Parkway. Eventually, I would love to see more officers focusing on that highway, focusing on interdiction. Law enforcement, I know we're not trained to be counselors. But again, we are the first people that make contact with the addicts and make contact with the with the drug dealers, with the drug users. A majority of the drug users that we deal with, a lot of them don't like the situation they're in. A lot of them want help. If officers, I would like to see police officers, and even myself, I'm not excluding myself, but I would like to see police officers with more knowledge about Casey's Law. I know Jason said one of the problems with Casey's Law, though, is Kentucky has no enforceable.
We have no lockdown facilities, treatment facilities.
But maybe if police officers were trained a little bit more and again, maybe some type of intervention. Again, you know, I know we're not counselors. I know we get paid to enforce laws. But we are on the forefront of the drug epidemic. And judges, like you said, everybody in this room, and I thought the exact same thing when you said it. Everybody in this room, everybody in this county, just about, you get educated the hard way on it, a lot of people.
Yep.
Every family that I can think of has a negative story about a member of that family being affected with drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a good thing. It's not an easy fix, so, but, you
It's been
know,
going on a long time.
that's the thing. We want people to come here that's gonna be good, upstanding individuals, and we're not saying, I know a lot of people that's done drugs before that's straightened up, but I can tell you, until you decide to straighten up, you ain't gonna straighten up. And I wish legislation would pass, you know, as far as, you know, treatment centers and this and that, and they put a little bit more emphasis on, you know, rehabs and stuff. But hey, you could go to Four Seasons Rehab. If you don't don't get rehabilitated, I don't care where you go. It's you know, it's not going to happen. So you just need to give, you know, folks an incentive to, you know, want to change somehow. And hopefully, you know, hopefully that's going to change. You know, hopefully we start doing something in the right direction.
I would also love to see, and I know it's budgets with everybody. Every department is strapped. You know, departments are struggling to make current payroll. Departments are struggling to buy new cruisers. But I would love to see more drug detectives that did nothing but focus on drug complaints. I know, again, you know, that's budgeting issues and
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but whenever I worked at state police, there was I-65 is the main corridor for drug trafficking in the United States. There's more drugs that's transported on I-65 than any highway in the United States. The next is I-75.
I thought it was Church Road.
It could be, I don't know. That's county roads, you know, so. But yeah, I-65, it's a hot one. So. Is there anybody else got anything, DD? Marty, you got anything? You ain't asleep back there, are you?
I'm just listening tonight.
All right.
Brandon's got anything?
Hey, Ken, y'all got anything? I know I don't want to disrupt you all or anything. Any questions?
We're talking about the drug target.
Oh, Rebecca, you got anything? All right, need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Neil, all in favor? Thank you all.